we're going to learn how to use a multiple query execution extension for Gato GraphQL. Multiple query execution is a feature that is super helpful. Here I created several persistent queries to demonstrate the several use cases. First one, send an email to the admin. So I have here composed a query that will fetch the admin email from the WordPress WP options table, and it will export that value under a GraphQL variable. And then it will execute a mutation using that value, injecting that value into the mutation. So that's basically how it works. We can query data and then reuse that data into a subsequent operation. In this case, we have a query and then a mutation, but we will have, like, query, mutation, query, mutation, and so on and so forth. We can compose multiple queries, multiple mutations as we need. So in this case, we execute the first operation, export data, and it will be exporting my admin email. And when I execute the send email to admin mutation, here it says that it depends on the query called export data. So when I execute this one, send email to admin, it will still execute the export data. Let's do that. And here we are. It executed first the query to export the data and then the mutation to send the email. If at any point we want to see what data it is that we have exported, we can add conveniently an echo variables query that prints the GraphQL variables. Here I'm printing that using the echo field. So we run this, echo variables, and here we are. We can see admin email is this email, and then what it is that we are exporting is exactly the same value. Next example, duplicate a post. So in this case, we are fetching a post that we provide the ID. We get all the different fields, the author, categories, the content, excerpt, the feature image, tags, and the title. And we are exporting all of these fields under different GraphQL variables. And then with that information, we are creating a new post here. So we're basically duplicating the post. So let's run this and see what happens. Duplicate post. So here, this is where it fetches all of the information, the post ID, slide, and then here we have the author ID, the categories, the content, excerpt, feature image, tags, and row title. It exported all of this data and it created a post, and it has the same information, the same author ID, the same categories, the same content, feature image, tags, and title. Now we can see that when it exports the categories, it says type list, and same for the tags. This is because they are list of values. In this case, it's a list of IDs. So we need to indicate that it will export every single of these values, the ID, for every one of the categories and place it on an array. To see what it is that we are exporting, we can once again print this exported data. We can add an echo variables query that will do echo of all of the different GraphQL variables to see what it is that we are exporting. So when we do that, here we are exported author ID is this one, exported categories ID 4, 3, 2, etc. So if we didn't have this type list here, we see what happens. We export, now we run, so we can see the categories here. The original is a list of IDs, but when we exported it, it only kept the last value as a single value. So that's why we need to say type list, and we can add this. Okay. Let's see the next example. Now, just now we have duplicated the data, but something else that we can do is to transform the data in between. So in this case, we have, once again, a post that we retrieve by the ID. Then we can modify the content that we just retrieved, and then we do something like that. In this case, we're updating a post. So in this case, as we can see, we have a sequence of 3 operations: query, get post data, then query, adapt post data that depends on get post data, and then a mutation, store adapted post data that depends on adapt post data, this one. Hence, when we execute this one, it will first execute this one. And this one will first execute this one. This one will export the value, this one will adapt the value, export it once again, and this one will use the final exported value. We can run this. Let's see the what we have here. Query variables. We have the hello world, so we are going to replace hello from hello to goodbye, and then we're going to store it once again on the database. So here we retrieve the data, hello world, we adapt it as goodbye world, and then finally it has been stored once again as goodbye world. And if we undo this, we replace from to, we run it again. Now it went from goodbye world back to hello world, what we wanted. Okay, next one. Search and replace multiple strings in all posts. So as much as we are fetching data from one post and exporting the values, the fields, we could do the same for a series of posts. So in this case, I'm selecting several posts that I pass the IDs, and I also want to do a search and replace on them. And in this case, I can get fields that I'm querying on each entity, and I want to export all of them under the ID of the queried post, so that we can transform this data and then store it on the right post once again. So now here we have a type dictionary. So before we had type list, that was a list of values, and when we do type dictionary, what this will export is a dictionary of values. So let's uncomment these echo variables to see what it is that we are exporting. Echo variables. So here we execute, we are passing the two posts, the ID 1 and the ID 1121. And now, we are exporting these three fields, raw tile, raw content, and raw excerpt. We do that with this extra parameter called affect additional fields under post. So in this case, this one is exporting the raw excerpt and also raw content and also raw tile. And these three fields are exported here under the ID of the corresponding post. The one with ID 1 and the one with ID 1121. So now if we run all of it, we can do a search and replace of we will search hello. Well, let's just search hello and replace with goodbye, and we do search and replace. So now it has replaced into goodbye here, and then it will store that information in the database, goodbye world. And this one, if it says hello, it will also like do the search and replace here. Now we put it back, goodbye, hello, we run this again, and now it went back to hello world, and we create the post inputs, and finally we can update the content all at once with one single query in multiple posts. Next one, add a mandatory comment block to a post. Here what I want to show is that we can also use the exported value to conditionally execute an operation, in this case a mutation. So this mutation will be skipped if the variable block exists has value true. So how this works is this query will find out if a block has been inserted into the post. If it has, then this mutation will be skipped. If it is not, then it will be executed doing something. In this case, it will insert the comments block. So let's execute this. We can see, check if the comments block exists. It says block exists false in the first case. Now we execute again the mutation. Oh, this one doesn't contain block content, but it's the same. So, we had, okay, let's do it with block content. 1125. Let's run this again. Block exists false, and we run it again. This one that have block content, so you can find out. And so it executed the mutation and it added the content for the comments block. Here it is. So what will happen is that if we run again this query, now it says that the block exists, and so the mutation has never been executed. It has been skipped. Okay, next one. Final one, display different content to different users. This is the same as the previous one, but to show also that you can do skip when a condition happens and include when the same condition happens. So you can conditionally print one output or another output depending on the value that you're exporting. So in this case, what I want to find out is if the logged in user is the admin user. If it is the case, if it is the admin user, in this case, include this query, it will print some response. If it is not the user, it will be skipped, then it will print this other response. And finally, the depends, here we can see that it will depend on both queries. So it will execute both of them. So either this one will be true or this one will be true, and the content that we print is either the one from here or the one from here. So let's do that. In this case, I'm logged in as the admin user. As always, we can also print that value. Let's do that first. Echo variables. It says I am the admin user. Good. And now what it will do is I will execute the last operation. And basically, because I'm the logged in user, is attaching some extra information that is done only for the admin user. All right. So as you can see, with this, with multiple query execution, we can execute multiple queries at once. So this is faster than executing independent requests against the server. And also we are modularizing the logic of the GraphQL query, so this is more legible and it's easier to deal with. Okay, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you.